We'll wait for some people to show up. Hey guys, I'm gonna talk about history and the design and what kind of stuff you guys can be making. We got 3 people. Hey guys, so what you're looking at in this room, I want to talk a little bit about the different periods of jewelry making and the different styles and the different purposes of some of this stuff. So here, let me hand the phone off to my kid. Say hi, Vincent.
Hello.
So what's in this room here, this is the D.M. Watkins Company. And when did they start, Vincent?
1878.
So they started in Vincent knows all the dates. They started in 1878. So when you look at this jewelry that they produced, it runs from the the late 1800s up until, when did they close, Vincent?
They went out of business in the 1960s.
So they closed in the 1960s. So you'll see jewelry ranging all the way, by the 1960s, tastes were really changing. By the 1980s, Providence, Rhode Island was basically cratering. They were being put out of business. But they had produced jewelry for the entire world. So what you see here, this jewelry in here, the D.M. Watkins Company was like a lot of the companies in Providence, and they were making costume jewelry, they were making gold fill jewelry, and lower priced items. This wasn't high-end jewelry. It was high on design, as you can see. The designs are spectacular, but they would use modest materials so that they could be afforded by the middle class and people around the world. So it's,
I love the engraving on this one.
Yeah, it's interesting how designs and styles come back, but these were, jewelry's a fashion. It's part of the fashion industry. So tastes change. You can see, look at this thing. That screams 1950s. That is all about the 1950s. So as tastes would change, the designs will change. Like this is 1800s. This thing here. This is a hair comb. It's huge. And it basically looks very similar to the French stuff. A lot, just like today, the Americans copy a lot of European styles. So let's go out to the front. Follow me, Vincent.
Sounds good.
Yeah, take a look at these. These are all French. This one's very similar. You can tell they were inspired by one another. But yeah, the French stuff is just magnificent. And the difference was this stuff was being made for the wealthy of Europe. And the stuff coming out of Providence, Rhode Island was being made for the middle class. Because they would be, you've probably seen those shows like, what's it called, Who Wore It Best? Or you see like the $10,000 Chanel dress and then a copy that's only, $50. And that's basically what Providence, Rhode Island. I mean, America's always been, we've been copying Europe for centuries. So take a look. Just like China copies us now, we used to copy stuff out of Europe. So this is, you guys have seen this before. Jeremiah fixed this one up. So this was made in 1902, Chaux de Fonds, Switzerland, by the R.A. Leinhard Company. And when this was new, this machine cost a fortune. But here's the American copy. Similar design, but it's basically the American version. And because the Americans couldn't afford to buy the Swiss versions, and they would make their own. They'd buy one machine and then they would copy it. And we've got the same thing with rose engines and all the stuff. And that's what a lot of this stuff is. A lot of this is copies of French and German pieces. But I really like the fact that they were made for the average person. You know, that's what's more interesting to me. I mean, anybody can make something expensive. It's hard to make something affordable. It's really hard, and that's literally what Providence did the best of anyone in the world, was making affordable jewelry. Up until China, they've really got it mastered. But yeah, this is she's got a star on her head. It's an early piece. It's definitely, let's see, crescent.
That's the forge that made the...
Yeah. Vincent's down on all the details. He's up on all the details.
The Crescent Steel Company.
Yeah.
Is where they would buy.
This is you guys have probably seen very similar versions coming from our French stuff. But this was struck in Providence. Probably in the late 1800s. It's kind of interesting. Here's another one. Here's one. Just an entire star lady. Star.
Oh, have the, is that
Yeah.
the... No,
We've already made this one.
Oh, wow.
Stars were a theme. But yeah, I've already done this one for you guys. I think here's the... I did a stamping of this one. Not a great stamping, but it's a great die. It's a great die. Pretty amazing. So what's really cool is this is the entire history. So a lot of these things, like you see these flowers, this was a component. This wasn't just the piece. This was a component to something. A lot of these things are just components. So a designer would go back here and they would look at all the different dies, and they, just like you guys can, you can look at all your components and then you can assemble a piece. Like here's a little, just a little part. Just a little part. Same with this. Little components. And you can build a piece of jewelry from all the components. And that's kind of how this worked back then. This is what they would do. Not everything had to be the central focal point of the piece. I mean, I prefer the little components. I love looking at these big dies and the hubs. They're beautiful on the shelf, but, you know, some of these are just, let's be real. What are you going to do with that? I don't know. Or like this dog. Like that, come on. Really? Like, what are you going to do with that? That's not ridiculous. It's these days, I mean, the 1800s has not come back into fashion yet. I think the stuff that's fashionable now would probably be, I don't know, the 1920s, the more delicate stuff, in my mind, the smaller scale pieces are probably more fashionable. Some of this stuff is just ridiculous. I mean, I would love it if they bring back tiaras and stuff. And I mean, I've been pushing to get overalls, you know, bring back overalls, but we're making a little headway. But I don't know about tiaras, guys. It's probably not in the cards. These are all letters, the alphabet. We might have the whole set. I don't know. They're cool letters, though. These are great letters. So let's go take a look at some hubs, and let's see if we can put what I want you. A lot of times, I've been pushing for this for a while. I'd like to see people build a cohesive collection, you know, where you pick out a set of dies, and then, well, here, let's go look at this set. I just got, this is a whole collection. This is ridiculous, what you see here. This is a company, and this is 100 years of collections. So every year they would come out with new dies. And this is all of them combined into one big pile, which is overwhelming. But
whenever you have time, we have a question on the difference between a die and a hub.
oh, a die is the female side, a hub is the male side. A hub makes the die. You know what? We should show them the difference between a die, a force, and a hub. This will explain everything. Then we'll get to this other collection. It's pretty rare for me to have the whole thing, okay? So this is the master hub. This is the original. This was made first. Like when you ask what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, the hub came first. Then from this, they made this. This is your die. This, and what's cool about this story here, I'll tell you in a second, so we'll finish the description here. This is your die, this is your hub. But you don't want to use this again. This gets put away and kept safe. This is your force. I know it looks like a hub, and you could call it a hub, but it's not a hub. This was made from the die. This was made from the die. This came first, this was second, this was third. And the reason this, and then this goes on the shelf and is kept safe. These go into production, and if there's an accident, like, you know, a bonehead sets up the press and they put it in crooked and they drive these two together and completely destroy both, well, you go back to your hub and you can start over. Or let's say your die breaks, you crack this thing, well, you go back to this. Or your force breaks, you can go back to this. And that's how we are able to, whenever things break around here, which it's a big pain in the ass, let me tell you. That's the problem with my business model here of using hubs and dies. That is the kryptonite of this business, let me tell you, is breakage. You can't run off the originals. I'm going to say it's unethical. It's downright barbaric. But we have to make duplicates of just about everything. So that's what takes forever. Let me show you. We've been. Oh, I got some duplicates here. Check it out. Let me go get the. I just did this one. So this is the original of this dragon ring. I wonder if he's popped it in the heat treat yet. Maybe.
Let's see.
It's in the heat treat.
Aw.
It's been heat treated.
Oh wait, that's a different one. But
Oh yeah, this is one of mine that broke. Check this out. Split completely in half. Yeah. But I have the original and I can go back to it. It just takes a lot of work, and sometimes I don't have the ambition to do it. Once I've done it once, it's like, don't want to start again. Let me put this one back. Here's that dragon. This is the original. The irreplaceable master hub. And then here's my die. This gets driven into this. And from this, I'm going to raise what we call a working hub. And our working hubs are way bigger than this. This is too fragile. These will break easily. Here's one of my working hubs. Much larger, much heavier. It's designed to be used hard. So that's what
made
did.
I got an question for what made the previous hub break.
They only can work so long. They're being hit with 300, 400 tons of pressure, driving them into blocks of steel. So over time, the hub, it's it's crazy amounts of force and pressure. So all that pressure builds up. So what we can do to alleviate that is to retemper the hubs, and because they get harder and harder. The harder you drive them and the more you strike them, they build up internal stresses, and then they just crack. And yeah, the amount we're striking a hub, no one strikes hubs this many times. It's just they were designed to be struck once, twice, not 10, 20, not 100 times. That's just crazy. So you end up with, that's why you don't see people doing this business, because things just break. I feel like the more we sell, the more I chase breakage. It literally, it's like there's two of us doing nothing but fixing broken stuff. Oh, let me turn off this. Yeah, this is some new stuff we got in. These are rolls. It's all nursery rhymes. I think a lot of it's the Three Little Pigs, and
yeah, here's a good nursery rhyme.
Yeah, it's the Three Little Pigs. So this is a small batch. This is literally a collection. So like, this is a collection of Art Nouveau pieces, and this would have been the entire line for the year. Let's go look over here. I got them all. I've been cleaning up the small stuff. So a company might put out some earrings, some pendants, a couple bracelets. So as you can see, these were set up for screw presses. These are screw press dies. So this could have been your earrings. And you can see even they broke. Look at this. They've got a crack. It's like the story of my life around here. And then of course we have to deal with the rust. What else we got? Some of these are great. Some of them are just, just like any collection, you got your vanilla. Let's take a look. It's the top of a ring or a pendant. It could be a pendant. It could be earrings. A stone would have gone in the center there. A lot of the stones used back in this time were synthetics because they could get them and cut them to size, and they could mass produce them. Genuine stones, you usually don't get them in exact sizes. So these are all dies. These are this would have been just this probably would have been karat gold work. Look at this. You can see they cracked it. They overpressed it. You can see the crack around the outside of it. The better ones I'll go through and fix. But they're a pretty collection. It's another little pendant. Probably held cameo or something in it. Very delicate. And of course even these professionals think that they can drive something harder than needs to be driven. Here's a little component. Probably part of an earring. Another little component. These are all just components. They can all be put together and turned into all sorts of things. Like this is just, you've seen this, everyone's seen this. This is just a little drop. It would have probably held a little tiny stone. Probably glass for the most part. These are necklace components here. Another one. This is a buckle. See the little tines in there? It's for a buckle. Probably for a bracelet ornamentation. This is a great one. Nice earring. They make a beautiful pair of earrings. But you can see they didn't have, with just this one collection, you could have produced a ton of different jewelry. Just a ton of things. These are all, it was probably a whole collection of necklaces is what this would have been. These are all necklace components. Even that could be earrings.
Oh wow.
God, a bunch of savages. Everything's got a break. That's just drives me nuts. When I get these things, I ask them, "Are they broken?" "I don't know." Yeah, top of a ring.
Nice one.
Yeah, top of a ring. When I got them, they're all rusty. Here's just a simple.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Could have held something in there. But a lot of times, you guys, if you look at what people are wearing for jewelry, I mean, this stuff's pretty outrageous because this is early 1900s. These are the styles that were in fashion then. I think this stuff is magnificent, and my goal is to bring it back. But the reality is, it's not going to come back as giant pieces. Smaller is better. Tiny pieces. The reason tiny pieces are great, I know that they're a little fussy to work with, but your cost is so much lower when you're not trying to make a 6-inch, a 3-inch wide sterling silver cuff out of 14 gauge and you have $200 in silver. You know, when you can make a beautiful necklace or a pendant and get the same kind of money out of it with only a fraction of the cost of materials in it, it's great. It's another pendant. Would have held a stone in the center. There's back parts too. So like if I was to do this, I'd strike it solid, pierce it out. If you watch some of John Jelly's videos, he shows you how to pierce this stuff out. He's really good at it. Originally, this stuff would have had die sets that would have punched out the parts, but let's face it, those days are never coming back, folks. We can't do it. We cannot make little die sets to pierce out all the gallery work in these things. So let's go look at some of the small component pieces, and I'm going to put together a die, and it's going to be a shot die. So it's going to have, we're going to do there'll be 4 components, and they're going to work together to form something. So you can make a variety of things off this one plate. And then we're going to actually I'll make demos doing a variety of pieces off of the one plate. So these, and we'll try to look for stuff that's not all stones either, because
Annie says make sure to hardness test them before making any promises.
Oh no, we're just gonna go full send, Joe. yeah, we got to hardness test stuff because it's just a nightmare. That's the story of our lives around here. So this whole cabinet is filled with components. All of these could be a great pendant.
These are all German Art Deco.
This was all made in Germany. So this would be a beautiful pendant. It could be the top of a ring. It could be earrings. So you got 3 options. Or if you were crazy, you could stamp like 10, 20 of them and make a bracelet. Link them all together. All these things are versatile. And that was how they were intended. This stuff was designed to be components. Take a look at it. There's just a ton of it. These are all components. Some of it, and they're all for calibrated size stones.
Getting some good responses on the shot plate component.
Yeah, so let's pick out, we're going to make 2 plates. Each plate will have, I'm going to see if I can get 3 or 4 pieces per plate. So we'll do 2 plates. And let's pick out the parts. So let's check out this. What would be neat in here? These are all mountings for stones. They're for calibrated sizes. All this stuff. That's
Looking at
that's
that
a
one.
head for a stone. Look at that. Vincent's ready with the cleaning rag. So what this could do, you would take a round stone or a square stone even. It looks to be maybe a 4 or 5 millimeter stone, and you'd cut a seat and prop it in there. You could solder a bail onto it. You could solder a jump ring onto it. And you could make a chain out of it. They're just components, and you could make tons of really amazing stuff with these. Look at this one. Here's another one. These are beautiful. Just little accessories. So I'm going to pick out some stuff that's going to be easy for you guys to use, and it's not going to break on me.
Someone's saying they would want the first one that you picked out of the other drawer.
Okay. Since they're the first person to speak up, let's see if we can find it. This one here?
Yep.
Great. So it takes a little time. It's even got all the beads set up for the stones. And I can show you guys how to bead set. It's real easy. I mean, this is like super easy to do. So with this, you could make a whole variety of items. So let's do a plate with, say, we'll stick to single stone mountings, and we'll do a variety. So I like that one and that one, and we'll stick to single stone because some of these have cluster mountings, and I know that's going to be a pain in the butt. This one's cool. Look at this one. You could solder a tube setting in there and have a great piece, or just make a blob, or stamp a little flower and put a little flower in there. That would be beautiful too. So this is going to be one plate. We'll do those three. I think I can fit one more on the plate. Let's do 4. Let's find something cool. I want to find something without a stone in it. That detail's hard to pull up.
That's true.
Yeah. We want to make it somewhat simple. Simple is it sells. So take a look at this. What do you guys think that is? Cool, huh? It's a head. You strike this and then pull the prongs vertical. It's a head.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And he says the drawer below it has stuff with no stones.
Okay, so take those. Oh, here they go. So we'll do, these are great.
Take Lizzie's advice. She runs a jewelry store. Simple sells.
Yeah, it really does. If you look at what people are wearing, I spent my entire life making jewelry, and I swear, I'd make the big pieces to satisfy my own, I don't know, that they didn't sell. My wife's got them all. A few sold, but a bulk of what sells is simple, small, everyday wearing kind of jewelry. Let's pick out one more piece for a top. God, I love this one. Look at that. That's just cool. Even though it has a stone in it, it's just cool. Let's do that one.
All right.
So that's one plate. Now, let's try to find things that would go well with those. Like, imagine this. Let's see if any of this would work together with each other. I think, it'd be crazy looking, but it would be neat. Even if you did a bracelet with a bunch of all these different links all hooked together, that would be pretty fun. It really would be. It would be fun. But these are all going to make beautiful ring tops. Every one of these would make a great ring, a great pendant, or a nice dangly earring. You could do a lot with these. So here we go. We're going to keep those. Let's try to find some stuff without stones. That would just be, and we're just going to go in these drawers. Let's try to limit it. It was interesting. We had some friends of ours came in, and normally I always cringe when people want to look through the drawers, because they get, I don't know what you call it. It's like shell shocked. They start hitting the drawer, and then they just can't stop. They're just looking and looking and looking and looking, and they think they're going to find something better in the next drawer. And This lady came all the way from Chile to come here and look at dies. And she's a professional goldsmith, really famous goldsmith. She went to this drawer and went bam, 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 pulled out 10 things, closed the drawer. Came over here to this drawer, bam, bam, bam. She was out of here in about an hour. She didn't even look hardly. And then, because I was horrified. And initially I was like, oh God, we're going to be here the rest of my life. And she was like, knew exactly what she wanted, and she was looking for small accessory items. Items that would enhance her work and that were affordable to create. And that's what this stuff is. This stuff makes very affordable, easy to make jewelry. Like, let's do a button die. These are, I mean, that would make a great earring. That would really, or a cool bracelet. Link them all together, make a whole chain of them. That would be great. So let's do that one. Let's do something kind of modern. That's pretty cool. God, that's neat too. Look at that. Like, these are very contemporary, and they'd look really cool. Oh, look at this one. And this would make life so easy. You could knock out, and this collection looks like it goes together. So, like, if you made a pair of earrings, you could make multiple pairs of earrings off of this. You could make little, just simple little rings. They'd be beautiful. And you won't be into it for a lot of money. This is good. So we'll put together these collections. I think we've offered, look at this, we've actually offered this one before.
Yeah, I was waiting for a chance to.
Something that we haven't offered.
Okay.
Oh, hey guys. There's a whole tour here. These are architecture students. They're working with Doug. So let's go back up to the top drawer.
Steve Adams designed these ones, and he was the head mint carver for in the U.S.
So what do you guys, let's see, I want to get one for this collection up here. So let's find something that it looks kind of cool.
Okay. As long as it's hard enough.
Oh yeah, go for it.
That's got multiple stone settings. We're not going to do multiple stone settings. Actually, this whole damn drawer is multiple stone settings. Now I'm all confused. Let's go back up to the top.
I like some of these, although pattern on those.
I like this one. We'll do that one.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. So that's what we got. So with these, yeah. Hey guys, stick to the. Yeah, we can't use.
Okay.
Yeah, stick to the stuff that's already out.
Okay.
Because this stuff, we don't know if it's already out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The stuff that's on this paper is bomb-proof.
Bomb-proof?
I can always check the hardness.
Yeah, stick to the stuff that we know is not going to blow up. So here's. So I think my wife is here, and we'll put these up. Hey, hon.
Oh no! Oh
We
no!
don't know how to do anything. I think
You've seen
Daniel-
people who know how to upload things onto. Oh.
Oh, great. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do a pair of shot plates. And these are components that will become rings, earrings, pendants.
Oh yeah, those are pretty.
So we're going to do 2 shot plates. One with stones, one without. And this would make a ton of little, really cool earrings. So we would love it if you could post them.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to figure something out because
Yeah.
they're all new and
They're all new.
usually number all the parts and everything. So
Yeah, but they're all going to be one thing. So let's go hardness test them and let's see if we have any tragedies waiting. See the struggle? The struggle is real.
Here we go.
Yep.
We're getting to see the behind the scenes of Just straight in.
All right. Let's see if this is hard. Here, more exciting to watch up here. So what we're looking for, oh, it's going to be okay. So I'll show you it. I spring it back. Here we go. So we're waiting for this thing to stop. It's basically a spring-loaded pressure kind of thing. It's a Rockwell hardness tester. So now that it's stopped, we're going to be somewhere in the plenty hard range.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Those Germans.
Bomb-proof. That one's good. What do you want to bet these are all?
I bet it's all gold.
Yeah, but they're all awesome. The German stuff is so nice. It's so nice. It's all hard. The Italian stuff and the French stuff, not so much. Look at that. Dead on the money, every one of them.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Up at the top there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when I test these dyes. The differences in how things were heat treated, when they were, it all comes down to when and how old the piece is. That's perfect. Stuff that's really old, those are like little bombs. Little grenades.
Like this whole wall here.
Yeah, it's a wall of grenades. None of that can be driven. None of it. It has to be done in a drop hammer. Oh, it's the hardness angels singing. So here is this dead on the money again. These are beautiful. So when we use these, we know that they're not gonna explode or cave in on the first press. So let's see, where's the other? I'm about to move in front of these. There we go. Now we'll check these. So we have to do this to every die we put up. Even before we use them, before we do anything, we have to check them. A lot of these, you never know. These are much older, so it's hard to know. It's a little softer than the rounds, but not bad. We should be okay. Probably in the mid-50s. Yep, mid-50s.
Nice.
I appreciate you guys sitting through all this.
Getting people saying they're very excited.
Yeah. Well, there's so much you can do with them. I mean, just the amount of stuff you can make. And these things, you don't need a press. This stuff could be done with a hammer. These little ones, you're going to strike all of these solid and you're going to do it in your press. And if you don't have a press, you can use a hammer. And I would do all these in fine silver. I would not mess around with sterling on these. They're just nice and easy to use. So it's looking very promising. How come we only have 3 here, Vincent? Oh, because I have one in the machine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait.
What? Okay, yeah, it's the old timer's disease here. There it is, 62. I think this is the last one we gotta check. This one's a little crusty. It could be suspect, but it might be okay. We'll see. The hardness can vary depending on where you test it as well on the hub. A lot of the earlier ones were only the face was hard. Like, look at this. This isn't hard at all.
Oh.
Not at all. This is piece of cheese. This isn't even heat treated. So if we were to press this, it would have caved in. Let's go find another one.
Sounds like a plan.
And we should probably, I think we have like a marker or something that we usually put on these. Find something else.
Yeah, here I can, if you mark it.
Okay.
I have a Sharpie if you want to write soft on it.
Sure.
All right. Let's see. What do we think looks pretty? Try not to get overstimulated.
Let's do this one. I like that one.
I agree.
And it's best to just choose and make up my mind. Otherwise, I could spend hours staring into the abyss. Here's your Sharpie pencil. Oh, thank you. Yeah, these are all new ones. They've never been up.
Did you make it?
Yep.
Are there 4 of each?
There is. We're going to test this last one. Let me check this last one. 1928 is dated.
Wow.
It's amazing it made it through World War II.
If you use a hammer, is the silver sheet on top or on the bottom?
If you use a hammer, you should be using solid silver shots. You use a lump of silver. Don't try to do it with a silver sheet. You'll be there forever. I would use a solid lump of silver. I will do a demo. We'll do it after this. We'll do a demo right after this.
All right.
59. It's perfect. So let me go press this one real quick, and I'll do a demo on how to do it. Here's the 4. That'll go on one set. This will go on a set. There's going to be 4. But I'm going to go press this one really quick.
What's the price?
I don't know what we charge for things. Here, you entertain them. I'm going to go make this real quick.
We have new stickers.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've been in business for 25 years. And we just recently got.
So these will be going in orders. So these were both done by Vincent's girlfriend. She's an illustration major, and so she drew these out. And we had them made into stickers. So we're going to start putting them in orders starting anything that ships today, I think, or tomorrow, because we just got them, so they're not in all of the things. But it's a pretty good size, and they're cute, and the nice colors and everything, so we all like them.
Show them something. So, we get a lot of questions about this. Something like this is to hold a stone. This is to be struck solid. You would never strike this in sheet. Okay? And notice, see the depth of the die? That height? If I was to strike it all that way, well, you're going to struggle. The reality is, your thickness of your piece depends on the thickness of the metal you use. Okay? So I just struck this just to the surface. Just to the top edge here. Because that's all you need. So what we're going to do, we're going to hit this with a hammer. I'm going to do my best. But I'll show you. It's not easy. A press is really easy. even if you go to Harbor Freight and buy like a 12-ton or any of those things, they're under $100. Are they good? No, they're not good. But is it easier than a hammer? Absolutely. And I know my products are expensive, but we make them here. There's no way around it. But you can get something at Harbor Freight pretty cheaply, and you'll be able to make dies, and then hopefully you'll make so much money making jewelry with your dies that you can afford to buy my books. That would be great. So let's go stamp this. And I'll show you how to do it. So look at this. Little blobs of silver. The more silver you pile up, the harder it's going to be to stamp it, okay? So I'm going to just take this little blob, and I'm going to melt it. This is sterling, so it's got everything going against me, but we'll be okay. I'm going to take it, and I'm not going to quench it, okay? So I'm actually going to prepare for this. We got our board to melt it on. I'm going to just melt it into a little blob on a clean spot on my board. There it is. We're going to make a little blob. I'm going to grab it with my tweezers after I've made the blob. And we'll sit down at an anvil. Let's do it on this one, since it's standing and it's available. God, I almost can't bear to do it, but we'll do it. Oh. That's fine. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put our blob of silver there. And a lot of you are probably thinking, I'm going to take a hammer and just beat the snot out of it. No. That is not how we're going to do it. We're going to do it with a punch. I'm going to use this. It's just a bar of steel. That way I can set it on there and hit with a hammer. Let me get a big hammer. You're not going to want to do this with your... If you think you're going to do this with a frets hammer, you're going to wreck your hammer. Where's the hammer? You know what? We're going to do it right here. That's where it's going. We're going to use this one. I've never used that one yet. So let's go heat up some metal. This is a tray planishing stake from Reed and Barton. It's beautiful. It even came with this little lid. I'm not worthy of that. Believe me. So let's make a little blob of silver. Okay, I set those there, so I'm not going to lose them. I got to turn the gas on. Check this out.
Ooh, what did you get?
Lynette gave it to me.
One of these newfangled things?
I don't know if I'm doing it.
Us up.
Anybody know how to use this? Well, back to the...
Technology's fun.
Yes. Use your solder pick. Don't overheat your tweezers. So we're just making a blob. I'm doing this with... Normally I would pour it into a little shot plate, but I'm going to do this like I got nothing. Like I have no special tools, just the basics, okay? This is almost way too much silver. There we go. No big hurry. Still kind of soft. Whoa. Ah, I cracked it. Let me,
You might want to heat it
I
up
got
again.
melted again. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you gotta let it cool a little bit.
It's so weird seeing it react that way.
Yeah. I'm gonna take half of it. I think it's too much silver. If you have too much silver, it's just gonna be a struggle.
Performing surgery on globs of silver here.
There we go. All right, let's go in the other room and drive this into the.
Do you have the die?
Oh no, I didn't grab the die.
Let me grab it.
I set it right here.
Lovely.
Yeah. Hammering this stuff, unless you've got an anvil and some stuff, this isn't easy.
You can get the big hammer.
Nah. So there we go. So let's pop it out of here. I need that chisel. You're gonna need a chisel. Alright. So you can see I need to hit it some more. There's plenty of metal there. Let's go anneal it. Let's hit it some more. This time I'll probably have to quench it. But then we're going to show you how to do it with the press. And it's way easier. Way easier. I mean, that's not that bad. But you're going to need you're going to need an anvil. And anvils they're not cheap either. There you go. And it's annealed. But yeah, I usually don't do shot dies. I mean, we sell them, but I design it to be used in a press. And honestly, you can pick up a press for very reasonable money. We'll just carry this whole thing out there. Let's go. Great. Yeah, you can get a press. I mean, a 10-ton, a 12-ton from Harbor Freight. They're very inexpensive. All right,
Nice.
back to hammering. I think we got it. I mean, it's not that much work. There we go. And here's our little piece. Done. And notice the thickness. We've got the thickness that we need. If I had sunk this thing all the way in, well, now you'd have this thing super thick and you'd have to file a whole bunch off, which would be a big pain in the butt. So I'm not trying to be chintzy with you guys when we sink them only certain depths. It's to make it easier. Trying to Make things easy. All right, let's go do this on the press. Single, probably get this in one press. Let's do it. Thank you for letting me use your anvil.
No problem. Put the chisel away?
I did not.
I got it.
That'd be fancy.
All right, so let's go press this. This is where this comes in handy. What this is, no, I don't like to use the long one because nobody can be trusted to center their work.
I see.
Yeah. No one centers their work, so we can't have nice things. So that goes in the middle. And use spacers. Spacers are your friend. Let's get one more in the business here. There we go. So here's our little shot. Now, get it centered up pretty good. Bring it down so people can see in there. Here we go. I'm just going to start it gently. I'm just going to bump it, okay? We're not going to just go slam. We're just going to bump it. Let's take a look. Check it out. That was with hardly any work. Let me go and squish it though. Let's drive it in. So, perfect. Let's go dig it out. You need to, God help you if you don't leave enough of an edge. You're going to be calling me going, it's stuck. And I mean, people try all sorts of things. They'll try nail sets, engravers and burrs and hammering and chiseling and freezers. Really, the best thing is to leave an edge. Just leave an edge. So let's use, and a chisel. Just go to Harbor Freight and get yourself a wood chisel. I need the wood chisel. There it is. Don't do that, okay? You're gonna stab yourself. So let's clamp it in the vise. I know most of you guys, ooh, sorry,
No worries.
are not. You don't need a vise this big. Nobody needs a vise this big.
I beg to differ. Everyone.
Oh, yeah,
needs a
Ian
vice
thinks
that
we
big.
need a vise this big.
Everyone needs a vice that big.
Yeah. But let me see this. And let me get the little hammer. So you're gonna just hold it in here like this and just tap. That's it. Out it comes. And you didn't even hurt, I didn't hurt my die at all. And we've got a perfect stamping. This will make a great 4-prong head or a pair of earrings. And you could do this, as you can see, you can do it without a press. But if you get a press, I mean, you don't have to buy mine. I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. We do layaway, but again, I know mine. We try to make them as affordable as we can. But Ian, he likes to eat.
I do like to eat. I like to pay rent.
Yeah, he's got to pay rent. He's got to pay gas in his car. Yeah,
Yeah.
here's the silver. I think this is the diamond dust.
Yeah, diamond turquoise.
Diamond dust turquoise. Yeah.
That will be
So-
done soon.
Yep. I think this is the colors we got right now. We got this pretty blue. We got diamond dust. What else we got, Ian? I think we got. Yeah, we got a. Oh, we got some copper ones. These are cool. These are cool. They're they got like a pearl. They look like when you look at them this direction, they got the same kind of chatoyance as a diamond dust. It's like a silver sheen over the top of it, but we're looking at it. It looks orange or copper colored. So can see, let's take a look at both of these. Both done differently, but the result is the same. So you could have a pair of earrings up and done in probably less than 30 minutes to an hour maybe. You could glue a pearl in there. You could solder a little flower. You could make a little concho bead. There's a lot of things you could do. And then you could hang them on ear wires. That would look pretty cool. You could make a chain. There's a lot of stuff. And that's just one piece. That would give you a whole variety of things you could make. And they're going to be light and affordable. And that's really important. I think in the coming future, affordability is going to become the important factor in selling jewelry. And that is really, you know, when we talk about that, that is where Providence, Rhode Island shined. They were the ones who figured out how to make jewelry affordable for the world. They invented gold fill. If you ever wondered what it was and who invented it, it was invented in Providence, Rhode Island. And 90% of what came out of Providence, Rhode Island was gold fill. It was a high-end costume level jewelry. They call it, nowadays they call it bridge. So it's not quite fine jewelry, but it's better than costume jewelry because it's not made of pot metal or just base metal. It's, you know, it's gold fill. And it's, you know, it has the look of gold, but the cost of something made of silver. But now with gold at $2,000 an ounce. And there's only, I don't know if there's any, Hauser and Miller was like the last of the gold fill companies. And I don't know how many are left. It's getting slim, the numbers of people making gold fill. But it's perfect for stamping. It's terrible for fabricating in. But the reason it was invented was for stampings. And that is what it was made for. They could seal the edge with the drop hammer, and the way the die was cut, it would pinch the edge closed, and therefore you'd never see the green of the brass coming through.
People are asking, wait, so gold-filled jewelry was considered costume?
Yeah, gold filled. There's the difference. There's carat gold and there's gold fill. Carat gold jewelry is solid gold or solid platinum jewelry. Gold fill it's brass with a gold coating, but it's not, when I say a gold coating, it's a sheet of gold on the outside. So it's way thicker than gold plated. It's not going to wear out. At least not, I mean, a lot of the gold fill stuff will last 100 years. Where carat gold is solid gold. It's, you know, if you melt it, you're going to have a lump of gold. If you melt gold fill, you're going to have a lump of green brass with very little gold in it. But it has a heavy gold shell on it. And it was considered basically costume jewelry. It's not, but that is what the masses wore. The average person, even today, the average person can't afford to buy carat gold jewelry because gold is $2,000 an ounce. So if you're buying like even your most basic thing, unless it's super light, which they have definitely perfected, making things as lightweight and as hollow as they possibly can, you're still talking several $100s for just simple pieces. Like a wedding band that comes in at, you know, 15 grams, you're going to be $500-600. So the average, you know, you're talking, it's a chunk of your wages. So the average person is not going to be able to afford that. But and even back in the day, that's why they made gold fill. That is why they made gold fill. And we've even got the machines to do rings, to make a gold filled ring, so that you can solder the ends. It looks like a Tootsie Roll, the way they would do it. They use what's called a swadger to form it. We used to have a bunch of the little packets. They look like this. This machine spins and it hammers your wire into a point. So you could take a piece of heavy gold filled wire and it'll hammer it down so it looks like a candy, like a twisted candy. And that'll taper it so that the center, do we have some?
I think I have some somewhere in my toolbox.
Here
yeah, there they are.
Check it out. So these are for striking rings. These are gold fill. So the center is fat, the ends are thin, so that when they would stamp it, you would get all the, the center, the top of the ring would get filled, and then these outer shanks would bend around. And then you'd bend the entire thing, solder both halves together with gold solder, and you would have a finished ring. Aren't these great? So the center in there is brass, but the outside, this is 14 karat gold. Pretty cool, huh? They could even do twists. So these are gold-filled twists. They're still covered in grease.
Wow.
They were in the machine when we were digging out the components of the machine. But that is how they did it. Let's go see if let's go apply the pressure.
For Kathy, no, I do not sell the punches that he used to hammer out the impression. That was just a...
It's just a piece of steel. You could literally, any random piece of steel. You could use your dapping punches. Just, if you have some of these. I couldn't help myself. I saw this kit at the gem show, and I was like, oh, this is too fun. It's got all the little parts and pieces. So if you had just this kit, you could use this. It would be just fine. And use this to drive it in. But a press is way, way easier. Even the $59 Harbor Freight press is going to be easier than a hammer. I promise you. I mean, it's going to be easier. But if all you can swing is a hammer, because I think by the time you buy an anvil and a hammer, you could buy the press. Even if you buy the cheap anvil and the cheap hammer at Harbor Freight, you're still going to be $50. But if you buy the $50 press, you could do a lot more. You really could. And plus, then you can do pancake dies. You can do impression dies. You can bend things. It's going to be even, I'd love it if you buy mine, but honestly, I know that mine's expensive. It's because Ian eats too much. We'll blame it all on Ian. We won't blame it on the economy. We won't blame it on the price of steel. It's Ian. He's not willing to work for free. But yeah, I mean, that's the way it works in America, right? You blame the lowest worker for all the price problems. The guy making the least amount, he's in charge of all the problems with inflation. That's all his fault. Yeah. But yeah, so actually Ian gets blamed for everything. He's the jam boy.
Oh my god.
How's it going, hon? Everybody's anxiously awaiting.
Yeah. I just photographed of myself to measure them and upload the photos and make the listings. So
Cool.
not done.
Not done yet. So you're saying it's going to be a few minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vincent's about to start on something. In the, how you guys have been wanting silver in Cranston Fancy Wire, but every time we do it, we've done it in-house, and the problem is the cost. And even if you guys can afford it, we can't. Let's do a quick thing here. Let me weigh this. Let's go weigh this for a second. We'll do some math, and I'll explain. And then I'll explain to you our solution. So we're at 52 grams for this. So this is in copper. So in silver you'd have 2 ounces. So cost on silver right now, I know that the market says is $18, but I can't buy it for less than $23, $24. So I would have $50 in this. So if I invest $50, I can't just make 5. because my scrap would far exceed, we would lose money rapidly. So, and then when you spend $50, well, you can't sell it for 60. You need to sell it for over north of 100, 150 bare minimum, because if you need to double your money just to stay afloat. So we have come up with a plan, and it's the same. It's a solution that Providence, Rhode Island did 100 years ago. They invented heavy silver plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a bunch of these and do a practice run.
I have one on my toolbox that's already.
Oh yeah, we got one. This was we did one locally, but it's not the same kind of silver plating. You know the kind of silver plating that you see on silverware that's heavy, that you can run through the dishwasher, that holds up to, you're eating with it holds up. That's the kind of silver plate we're going to do. So this one was just light silver plated, this is just electroplated. But we're going to send them out to Providence, Rhode Island and get them heavy sterling plate. So this is just a fine silver. We're going to do a heavy sterling silver plate. And it should be pretty reasonable. To where it might cost a couple, maybe $5 a piece. And so you'd have, what? You'd have $10 in a bracelet. Let's get in here. You'd have like $10 in a bracelet. Granted, it's silver plate, but it's still nice. And it would be affordable. And it'll last. Where if we were doing, you know, solid silver, we can't afford to do it. So here's a, see this big burr on it? I know some people were questioning that. Just file it. They come down quick. That was a massive burr. This is a reject piece. That's why it was sitting over there. But if you get a burr, just take your file, take it down. Good as new. Because you're going to have to file them anyway. I mean, they're just raw strip. We aren't deburring them. That's something you guys got to do. But I think these will make some really nice pieces in sterling. So we'll have some samples to show. We're going to do, I don't know, probably 100 pieces in the next couple weeks. Vincent's running everything double. He's running double of everything right now, and we're going to send off a bunch of it to Rhode Island to have it. It'll be a heavy silver plate that'll hold up. And I think they're going to make some great pieces. They'll be really nice. And you can probably sell them for more money. And you won't have the turning green problem. The copper is pretty though. But yeah, so that's it. Let's go, I guess, probably wrap things up. What do you think? You guys got any questions?
Nothing that I see immediately.
Okay. I see how you are. I don't have anything else.
Can it be soldered?
Yeah. Yeah. It's fairly heavy. You're going to want to use a low temp solder. You're not going to want to use traditional silver soldering technique. You're going to want to use low temp silver solder. That usually comes in a wire form. The same stuff that they use to assemble the silver plated T-sets and everything is what you're going to want to use. And then you can definitely solder on it. It'll hold up. But yeah, you're not going to be able to use like high temp. You're going to be using low temp solders. And that'll work just fine. Yeah. I'll do a demo on it. I'll do a demo. But Yeah, I think, and we'll give you guys the name of the place. So if there's some of you guys who are doing, well, obviously I know there's some people out there who are buying tons of this because I see Vincent packing up lots of it, and I'm glad because the stuff's beautiful, and I know you guys can make great bracelets with it. And it's just a simple, easy product to produce because everyone needs their bread and butter products. You know, the stuff that you can make every day that doesn't take a lot of time and that there's nothing not to like about it. It's just pretty and it's a simple thing and it's affordable to where a person, you know, 25 bucks, 30 bucks, 20 bucks, people don't even think about that. You know, when you get up into $50, $100, it's easier for a person to say no. But when it's 20 bucks, you can blow that on coffee at Starbucks. So, or at the gas tank, just on a gallon of gas these days. But you can, this will, it'll give you some options and some stuff so that you can make affordable items and still make a lot of money on them. So that you can keep buying and working and doing what you love to do.
We have a question talking about just how do you safely use a press?
Oh, how do you safely use a press?
Yeah.
The number one thing. Presses are very safe until you do this. You notice all of our new presses, I think we got one over there. I'll go show you. I used to put this platen up here because I thought, of course people are going to keep their work centered. Of course they're not going to put their die. Where's my die? They're not going to put the die over here. Why would you put it over there? Yeah, wrong. I can't believe people do it. They put the things they put them over here, here. They need to be here in the middle. They have to be centered here to here. As long as you center your work, this thing is perfectly safe. And the reality is, this is 20 tons. I'm not going to be cavalier about it. It is not that much pressure. This is only, it's 40,000 pounds. It's a lot of pressure, but you've only, even with a manual press, you've got 20 tons. Now, if you press it as hard as you can and something lets loose, like let's say the frame's not going to break here, but let's say your Harbor Freight frame breaks. They don't go boom. Everyone has this vision in their mind of metal flying everywhere. They die with a little tink, and then all the pressure is released. The second the frame cracks, all the pressure is released. Nothing happens. The only time you have these big dramatic explosions is with what we've got in here. You're not buying one of these. Let me show you. This is the kind of press where you can get hurt. This machine here. If you look this company up, you will see nothing but lawsuits and death. People have been killed by these things. But that's why it's got guards and safeties. Like, you can't turn this machine on without, it's got an interlock on the door. And what blows up, the press isn't going to blow up. This isn't going to break. This is 500 tons. What blows up, and we don't sell hardened steel dies. You guys are not getting a hardened
Yeah, we have a
die.
question about how do you test the hardness of dies at home.
You don't. We do not sell a hardened steel die because I don't want one to ever break on somebody and someone to have pieces of steel fly into their face. And that is why we sell nothing but mild steel dies. This die is good for 100 tons of pressure. You've only got 20. You've only got 20 tons. You are never going to hurt this with our press. If you have 100 tons, yeah, you could hurt it, but you've only got 20. You're not going to hurt this die. So let me show you. Let's squish something. Let's take something.
Oh,
and
here's an example of what happens when it's over.
This is what'll happen when you over squish, but you can't do this with your press. I can. This is a crack. But a mild steel die, it cracks and just, I'm not going to, man, I'll do it with a mild steel die, but we're not going to blow up a tool steel die. That's a bomb. That people literally come running from around the room to see who's blown themselves up in here. Let's squish this.
So I'll show the
Here.
these. You can also show the meter 200.
Bring it on around.
At 250. So yeah, it's hot. But you can see that's what would happen to a mild steel die.
This is a mild steel die. It just flattens like a pancake. But you don't have...
That
I
was
don't care how hard
250
you
tons.
push. Yeah, that was 250 tons. I don't care how hard you push with your Harbor Freight jack or mine. You're never going to do that with this. Now, take a look at these. These are Steve Adams's dies. He makes, look at how big ours are. If one of these breaks, these blow up. These go off like bombs. Like this stuff here, I think I've got some big busted ones. Like, I've had stuff blow up on me. And that's when a press is dangerous. The stuff that we're doing with these small dies made of mild steel, it's not dangerous. Look at this. This one exploded on me, and it put a hole in the plexiglass. It blew completely apart. And these go off like bombs. All of these are real steel. These are all, this is all carnage. Look at these things. Just complete destruction. A lot of this stuff, you know. But yeah, it's, you can see, here, look at this one. Oh, this was the feather. But not to worry, we remade it. But that blew completely in half. And when these things go off, people run. It's loud and it is a bang. Even this kind of stuff, when it doesn't completely break, it's loud. Yeah. These are all just blown up stuff.
Oh, that's a tragedy.
Yeah, it came to me broken, but I already saved it. I made a copy. So, what you guys are working with, you are just fine, because I don't sell hardened steel dies. And for that very reason. Simple as that. Don't ever put a bronze die in your press either. That's a terrible idea. They will crack and shatter easily, and pieces will fly out. So, our dies, they're just going to squish. Where'd it go? The pancake. This is all that's going to happen if you press the crap out of one of our dies. Now, if you don't center it and somehow it becomes a projectile, well, let's go talk about that. So, on this press, I'm going to pull all this out of it. I've done everything I can to maintain. So notice the platens, they lock onto the frame. The bottom is held in to the cylinder and the cylinder is locked on. So I've done everything I can to prevent it from tipping off, but the only solution, it's simple, you've got to put your work in the middle of the press. That's every press. Like you saw that big press that we were using, they mounted the top, there's a slug up there, and that's where you have to put your work under that slug. It can't be off on the edge. You will destroy the press. So let me show you what we've done on our latest design. I got rid of these because I can't trust people to put their work in the center. Come look at this one. Let's see if he's got it fully assembled. Hey, do you have the bottom plate? You already painted, or is it done?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta make some? So here is this. This is the new, I think they go like this.
Yeah, they go on top.
Yeah. This is the new platen. And it locks into the top of the frame. So, oh yeah, look at this. Here's a blown up die. Yeah.
Right on the nose.
Yep. The plow. There's another one.
Oh, I keep my failures.
Yep. Here's all the explosions. When these go off, I'm serious, people come running into the room to see if someone's still got their head attached. But we've never had anyone hurt because it's always contained within the machine. So, centering your work. Don't use brass dies from India. And honestly, I wouldn't be using any heat-treated steel die in an open press. I don't do it. I don't use any heat-treated steel die in an open press. We just don't do it. It's not safe. I mean, it's too easy to have something break. Especially, heat treating is, it's a science, and we've got it down. We're using salt, and we're using tempering, and everything's digital and controlled, but I can't imagine trying to heat treat hundreds of dies a day, or at all. That'd be impossible. But yeah, it's just too scary to be using anything tool steel in your press. Don't put your, don't put dapping blocks in here. Don't put any of that stuff in here. It'll crack, and you could get hurt. That is why I'm using steel dies, mild steel, and they're going to hold up just fine. They're going to last up. I look at it this way: if you actually wear one of these out, you can totally afford to get another one because they're very affordable, and it's I've never sold enough of anything to wear anything out really, so you'll be just fine. But center your work. You've got basically, you really don't have much more than 2 inches this way or that way on something like this. It's really got to be in the center. It can't be over here, here, here. No. It's got to be there. It's got to be in the middle. Just look down, look at your jack, and look at where you're putting it. It's got to be centered. Put a piece of tape down. Make an X. Whatever you want to do. But that's why I took this out. People were putting it here, and it would, boom, shoot it out. You put it in the middle, you're okay, no problem. But a lot of times people just are not paying attention. That's why we try to make everything as low profile as possible. Use lots of spacers. Spacers are your friend. You don't want to be running the cylinder all the way up. This is how high it'll go. That's completely at the outer end of its limits. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your cylinder down. So just get spacers. You don't have to buy the spacers for me, and then you're going to ask, well, why do we have all this room here? It's so that you can fit tooling. See? You need the room to put tooling in here. So like you have your urethane and you got room to work. So, I could maybe shorten it up a little bit, but your bottle jack puts it pretty high. You get more headroom with the hydraulic electric cylinder, but your bottle jack, you're going to be right underneath this. Just enough room to slide your metal in. So you need the headroom in here. That's why it's this high. But you don't have to, you know, all these are, you guys, this stuff, it's just aluminum. It's just aluminum. If you have a local metal supplier, you can go in there and buy this stuff. It's not cheap. It's a little cheap. You'll be able to get it a little cheaper than I'm selling it to you for, but they might hit you with cut charges. But if they've got drops, then you're great. You know, you don't have to buy this stuff from me. This is just, they're just aluminum blocks. And people are going, why aren't you using steel? Well, steel on steel is a bearing. It'll slide. Steel on aluminum, it won't. It grips. I want your press. I want this stuff to grip the steel. Aluminum is going to dig in and it's going to grip the part so that it doesn't go flying out. It doesn't matter if this gets dinged up. It's consumable. Who cares? What's important is you don't have pieces flying out of the press. Or, man, I used to make this stuff out of steel, and I remember this. A lady took a picture of her toe. It's all blasted apart. And then she says, look what Kevin's press did to my toe. And I'm thinking, did you put your foot in the press? I was like, what the hell? No, she dropped a steel spacer on her foot and broke her toe and tore her toenail off, and it was horrible. And the picture's probably still up on the internet to this day. But after that, I immediately switched to aluminum because it's light. You're going to do less damage to your toe, and also it grips your part. Because initially, you know, I was concerned about people putting dents in it. It doesn't matter. Who cares about dents? What you want is, I want it to grip. That's what we want. So just stack them up. They don't even have to be this large, but don't get teeny tiny ones. I get them this big so that you can't screw up. So this is how many spacers I run. Pretty much for doing everything. Pancake dies, all of it. We do this big stack. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 spacers. In fact, I could even do 6, really. Could probably fit a 6th one in there. But I use 5 for most things. And
can you use a steel block between the aluminum?
Sure. But as long as it's not hardened steel, as long as it's just mild steel, do not put any hardened steel in this press. It'll crack. It will crack. Because it's just, hardened steel is just a no-no. You do not want it in these presses. I'm just looking out for you guys. I don't want anyone to get hurt. We've already had one customer who put a bronze die in here, and it wasn't, she didn't have our pump, she had a different pump. And the die blew up, and it messed up her whole face, broke her jaw, her eye socket, and it was a bronze die from India. They explode. I've blown them up. Just testing them, they blow up so quickly and so easily that, but they were never intended to be put in a press. They were not for presses. And it's called Kundun jewelry or mogul jewelry. They're using 22 karat gold. It's basically 22 karat gold foil. And they're using a sheet of leather to hammer it into that form. It is super lightweight. And then it's filled with pitch to give it weight and heft and to stop it from caving in. They're using very, very light gold foil. And here you guys are trying to plow a piece of copper, 16 gauge copper into it using urethane in a press. You're gonna get hurt. That's not what those dies were intended for. They were sold, they use them in India all the time, but they're for thin gold jewelry, like 22 karat, 24 karat gold. Look up mogul jewelry, you'll see it. Stuff's beautiful. It's all enameled, reds and greens, and lots of little diamonds. It's just beautiful stuff. But it's it's not made how how we make jewelry. It's totally different. So, yep, and another thing, this doesn't go in here. These don't go in here. Don't put these in here. That's not what they're for. Just don't do that. I saw that today. Don't do that. It's not for that. It's something totally different for silhouette dies, and you don't even need to buy that. You can use just regular thin piece of urethane like you do for these to do the same thing without having this container. I mean, people like accessories. They like to see lots of little accessories with their press and spend money on things they don't need. And because there's companies out there that make all sorts of tchotchkes and accessories. There's things that I think are totally worth the money, like, that's lasts forever. A bracelet former? This is great. That? Not so much. Not so much. This is great. It's hardened. This is the front of a bulldozer. This is a special kind of steel. It's armor plate, so it's not going to shatter. This little disc is. Let's check the Rockwell on it. Let's go see. So what we'll do, we'll test the Rockwell on this mild steel. We'll test one of our dies too. So here, focus on this. Watch it go around. That's mild steel. That is, and look how strong steel is. This is like what's in your car. This is like what's your suspension arms in your car are made out of. So this is harder. This is armor plate. This is what they put on the front of bulldozers. But it won't shatter. It's armor is what it's called. See how hard this is. $37, $38, pretty good. Pretty good. Let's take a look at this. So you saw what I did to this. I hit this with a hammer. We put 20 tons of pressure on it, so that's 40,000 pounds of force. And let's see, to give you an idea how hard this is. It's going to be soft. Not bad. It's about 8. That's mild steel. Mild steel. Plenty strong for what we're doing. If you were hitting, there's no reason to hit this with more than 5 tons. There's just no reason. You're not going to get any more detail. You're not going to get anything. You're just going to squish things. So 5 tons is more than enough for something like this. Because we did it with a 3-pound hammer. Even with these fly presses, you can't generate hardly any force to hurt things. So you really don't need hardened dies. I know there's people who believe you do, but you don't. Even all this stuff here, these were designed to strike 100,000 pieces. But in a 200-pound drop hammer. But this is for mass production. These would run 1,000,000 parts. But you guys, if you guys can sell 1,000,000 of something, or even 1,000, man, give me a call. I will help you out. I will. We can go. I can produce tooling for you. If you can make the sales, I can make the tooling. Trust me. We can make anything you need if you got a market for it. All right, guys. Take it easy.